Have you ever felt that you sit and you speak to a colleague and after the conversation, you're completely drained? Where do you draw the line between supporting and lending a ear? We spend the majority of our time with people at work, almost like family. But it can become messy when we cannot differentiate between what is the contract of the different relationships. Now, today I want to talk about emotional clarity in professional relationships. Hi, Krista here, and today you and I have an appointment. Now, today I want to talk about emotional clarity in professional relationships. Have you ever felt that you sit and you speak to a colleague and after the conversation, you're completely drained? I know I've had that, where you actually start wondering, where do you draw the line between supporting and lending an ear to your colleague and becoming over-involved? Now, this is important to discuss because in a workspace, as time goes on, we often develop close relationships. We become friends. And we're not only at workspace, we actually start visiting one another and we spend time with one another outside the workspace. Now, that's important because we spend the majority of our time with people at work that we're awake. So building good relationships and really feeling that you can trust one another and support one another and we're almost like family is important for our productivity. But it can become messy when we cannot differentiate between what is the contract of the different relationships. What are the expectations? And one of the things we need to look at is when I am at work and somebody, a superior that became a friend, gives me certain instructions to not take it personally. And one of the things we can do is step back and say, whoa, what is the contract? The contract here is you've been appointed in this position. Another person is your leader, team leader, or superior. And when we walk into the workspace, those are the boundaries that need to be respected. We need to have emotional clarity about that, to know that this is the contract of the relationship. When you walk outside the door and you go into a personal space, that's a different contract in your relationship. And the more we have clarity about the expectations we have of one another, the less messy it becomes. So when you start feeling that there's a bit of confusion, blurred lines, creeping into the workspace, it's actually quite easy. Just step back and clarify the expectations, the contract, so that we know what it's meant, what our intentions are, so that we can remain professional, step in, do what we need to do, and leave the emotional connection of a friendship outside the door. Does it mean that we have to become mindful? Yes, it is. In any relationship, that's important. I've even had situations where partners, life partners, work in a workspace and then they go home tonight and that's a relationship. Very important to know that when you close the office door, that is a different relationship you step into. And what are the expectations? What is it that we need in that space? I've even said to some of my clients, you know what? When you live with your boss, you must have the space tonight when you close the door to actually say to your partner is, you know what? Today my boss really, or my superior, or my colleague really annoyed me. And you must be able to talk to your partner in that way because it's two different relationships, different expectations. We need to have the emotional safety in both of those, clarity to know how to deal with that. Krista here. I'm looking forward to our next appointment. Put on your notification bell. See you next time.